Hi everyone, welcome and welcome back to Bethany and Garrett. That's me. I am a British-born, Kiwi-raised, Aussie-sliving young woman in Melbourne, Australia. I'm just coming at you with this intro because I've got so many things I just need to blurt out for you. If you are interested in humble, realistic, everyday home style vlogs with a little bit of other stuff mixed in, consider leaving a cheeky like and subscribe down below to follow along with my life. My current life stage is I am engaged, I am employed, and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. So let me just dump on you guys. I just filmed the first section of a video talking about social media. And a little spoiler alert for you guys, I have deactivated my TikTok account. I have, in my last vlog 110, I'll see if I can remember to link that for you somewhere. I was talking about Instagram. So my books, Beth and Books account is now back to being just books. And that's a public account. Public account. I privated my private account. I kicked 400 people from following me. I now only have 170 followers. And that's where I'm posting mainly, and it's just 170 people I actually know, 170 friends. So basically what I'm saying is I'm right now had like the past 48 hours, my best friend was here in the city and she's been traveling and whatever. And her and I just needed that talk. We were just talking for hours and hours. I swear the past 36 hours, we've just been yabbing the whole time. And I've just had this moment of clarification around life and stuff like that. So I guess I'm starting off this vlog by saying, if you have noticed that I'm not active as much on Instagram, it's because I'm not. I'm only going to be posting my book stuff. Maybe a little bit more of like general lifestyle things, but for now just book stuff. I am no longer even on TikTok. I've never been active on Threads. I've never been active on Twitter. So it's just YouTube. It's just you guys and the book account for public people. A few of my audience members have kind of become low-key internet friends. So you're in my private account, but like, you know, general public, whatever. Maybe we can chat on my book account and we can become friends and then I'll let you in on my life a bit more. But what? As you can tell, I'm a little bit of a mess. I'm starting this vlog because I want to very closely document my first week of not having TikTok. My video and thing I just started earlier, like that is going to be a dedicated video to it all, but I kind of have this feeling I'm going to have an itch where I want to just re-download TikTok. So instead of that, I'm going to do an itch and I'm going to open the camera and maybe talk to you guys or whatever, like something like that, which I have already done. Literally starting this video was that itch. And also I had the itch to go on TikTok, like muscle memory. My thumb went to where TikTok was and I realized there's nothing there. And I edited the thumbnail for vlog 110. So like already it's a thing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that sunshine is glorious, but also kind of blinding me. There we go. I am in my reading corner, and for the first time in, I genuinely am trying to think. The last book I read, bless you, would have been maybe in the last week of term 3, because I didn't read during the school holidays. So at least 5 weeks. The first time I'm sitting down to read a book that isn't a fashion magazine, which is still reading, but whatever, I'm rambling. A book in 5 weeks. Here we go. This is Untethered Soul. And apparently I paid $36 for this. You know what? I'm going to take so much from this. We're going to manifest $36 worth of really helpful information. Basically, this book says, what would it be like to be free from limitations and soar beyond your boundaries? What can you do each day to find this kind of inner peace and freedom? And let me preface this entire conversation, which I will probably end up having about this book over the upcoming vlogs, is that I take these kind of books with a huge grain of salt. I went through a phase, I do think that's the right word. I went through a phase in my first year of teaching where I read a bunch of what we would call self-help books. In fact, I made a video about it. I'll link it somewhere for you all. And like, I stand by that video. And those books really did help me, but ultimately I stopped reading them because they started to become samey. But this was a book I bought, so this is technically the second time I've bought this book and intended to read. And so when I read these kind of self-help books, the thing for me is that I read them almost like how, and I really don't mean this to be offensive, but it potentially, I don't know, people could be insensitive to it, to how I would say one would probably read the Bible, right? Like you read metaphors into it, you take some of it as not being too literal, and I kind of approach passages in the Bible with a little hint of cynicism, like I don't take it as literal. I don't take it at face value. I try to like read between the lines a bit more. And I kind of do the same with this. Like I take information from it, but I'm careful that I don't take it for gospel because it could be harmful. And that's what I do with my self-helpy books. But I have my little pencil case, my little Bear pencil case here. It's got my tabs in it. I've got my highlighters and I've got my pen, and I'm intrigued. So I'm going to challenge myself to read for half an hour. That's my challenge. Good morning. Excuse my morning voice. It's not too bad now, but it's still a bit huskier than normal. But good morning, everybody. I have a stack of books here because I think it's the time of the video where I give you an update. Last night, I read chapter 1 of Untethered Soul. I found it really interesting when I was watching back the footage, how fidgety I was reading, and I think it just comes from after having not read for a while. I also only read, I say only, I shouldn't say only diminishes the achievement. I have read 13 pages and I took a decent amount from it. It was an interesting chapter. It was all about the voice inside of your head. Hopefully editing me is throwing up some pictures of what I highlighted. Feel free to pause. Some of the main things I took away from this is the reminder that the voice inside your head, I mean, this is what I was saying earlier about taking things with a bit of cynical outlook, like a grain of salt. This book is saying how the voice inside your head isn't your voice, isn't you, because if it was you, you wouldn't be able to observe your thoughts. Do you know what I mean? So, but then I also think you are a product of the voice inside your head. Like, sorry, not you're a product, you are the creator of the voice inside your head. You have a level of control over it. But it is interesting, and it was talking about, you know, you've got to be careful about what you say to yourself. My favorite section was, much of what the voice says is meaningless. Most of the talking is just a waste of time and energy. The truth is that most of life will unfold in accordance with forces far outside your control, regardless of what your mind says about it. It's like sitting down at night and deciding whether you want the sun to come up in the morning. The bottom line is the sun will come up and the sun will go down. And I think that was nice, because I often get stuck in a loop in my head, like, oh, something bad could happen. And it's like, well, if it happens, it happens. But like, there's no point replaying the negative in your head because it might not happen. So that was just an interesting chapter. The next chapter is about your inner roommate. So I think this first section, what's this section called? Inner consciousness, right? It's all about like awakening consciousness. It's all about your inside state. But so far, I think the writing style was quite accessible. Now let's talk about these books, because something I did also do last night is I wrote a list on my notes app of what I wanted to try and accomplish today. And I've had these books out for so long. I've already mentioned to you guys, I really want to finish reading Cemetery Boys, and I think I'm going to do that next. There's not too many pages left, about 70 pages. The update with Cemetery Boys is, hang on, I'll read you the blurb. The spirit's face was screwed up tight in a grimace. His fingers knotted into the material of his shirt. He wore a hooded black leather jacket over a white tee, faded jeans, and a pair of Converse. That's not Miguel, Maritza tried to whisper, but she'd never had a very good inside voice. Yadriel groaned and dragged a hand over his face. On the bright side, he had actually summoned a real-life spirit. On the not-so-bright side, he had summoned the wrong one. And so going into this, I thought it was going to be a lot more spookier, a lot more spirit-driven. But it's just become... It's a really slow pace. I find the pacing of this book really slow, and I made it so far through. I made it through all these pages, but I just got bored. But I'm going to finish it. Next up, I have these books that I think I'm just going to go return to the library at some point today. I had picked up Heaven's Official Blessing, and it was really interesting when I read the blurb, but then I realised that it's quite a big book, and I did try starting to read it, and I just wasn't interested. I think I should try read the manga instead. And then these are books that are quite like Bookstagram famous. I don't know, some of these I might still try pick up. I finished reading The Unhoneymooners. That was a bit disappointing for me, so that's definitely going back. The Vanishing Half, whilst I want to read one day, I do not think I'm in the mood to read. Again, picked it up because of how hyped it was over on Instagram. And then I have Luster here, which is a book that I picked up purely because of myself. I hadn't seen it online. This one's about someone trying to this one is kind of like a slice of life, but dark, of a woman who is just trying to survive. She's in an admin job. She's sleeping with the wrong men. Has failed at the only thing that ever meant anything to her, which was her art, her painting. She meets Eric, a middle-aged white dude with a suburban family, including a wife who's sort of agreed to an open marriage. They have an adopted black daughter, and I believe our main character is also a person of colour. So it's like this intricacy of found family, what it means to be part of a family, what love looks like, what it's like when you're growing up and you're an adult and stuff like that. So again, I'm interested in it, but I cannot be that interested in any of these, if I'm being quite honest, if I haven't picked them up in like 5 weeks. So I think I'm just going to take them all back to the library and refresh them all. But I just wanted to show you, because whilst I'm not a specific book account anymore, I do still like reading and I do still want to read. So I might take you guys along with me to the library. I don't know quite yet if I want to do a dedicated book TBR video, because again, I'm trying to stray away from feeling the pressure of putting myself in a niche, but I think I could. We'll see. For now, I've got my list of things I want to accomplish, and the first thing I'm going to try to tick off is reading this so I can add it to this pile of go homes. Let's talk about Cemetery Boys. I finished it. And I first of all want to start with the positive. The positive being that I think it's a really good story because it has trans representation, different cultural representation, specifically. I feel like I'm going to absolutely butcher it. Oh my god, I'm going to absolutely butcher it. I will write it up here, and then I will teach myself on how, educate myself on how to say it. So positives there, you've got cultural representation, trans representation, and a good story where you can see a family coming to accept their trans child. The negatives of this book, though, is that just because a book has good representation doesn't make it a good story. And that was the case for this. I found it predictable. I could tell what was going to happen a mile off, and it was over 300 pages of build up for the main event to take place in the space of maybe 10 pages that, remember, we knew was going to happen because it was so very, very obvious. So unfortunately for me, this wasn't a great book. However, it does mean I have now finished it. I have finished a book, the first book, in like over a month. So that is good. My back, though, I don't know, man, it's killing me. But looking at my list of things to do, excuse me. I'm just going to go in really quickly with my work laptop, make sure everything is ready for tomorrow, and just do like the little bits of work things I have to do before I have a break and do something more creative again. I finished my work and decided I was going to do some more journaling. I just haven't journaled in so long, and I thought I would also just have a quick little voiceover for this, because this vlog has really become all about like mental health and whatnot. And something that I found has helped is, aside from setting my goals in terms of every time I have a birthday I set resolutions rather than doing New Year's, having a bit of a weekly reflection helps me a lot. This is going to sound very fatalistic, but I'm quite aware that we only have a finite amount of time on earth, and whilst that's mixed in with a healthy amount of YOLO, do whatever you want, live in the moment, that is also this awareness of, if I want to achieve something, there is no time like the present, because time goes like that, like it blips a split second. I'm sure you guys have all experienced when you have been intending to do something, you put it off, and then boom, it's the deadline. That's me and my taxes right now, to be honest. I really need to get onto them. But something I really enjoy doing, and I find works for me, is after making my big yearly goals, I then will create like little sub goals for the week that relate to that. For example, one of my goals is to complete a 10-week program. So you can see on the top rightish there's like a weekly piece of paper where I'm going to write what I do for my exercise each day. And so I just break it down into more manageable chunks. So basically, my big overarching goals are often quite big vision, big picture goals. And from there, I will break it down each week into the baby steps. It's just something that I found worked for me. Also, one of my big goals, just in my whole mental health kick, shall we call it? Not really a kick, I don't like that, what that implies. My mental health regrounding I do a lot of journaling. I have a lot of journaling to catch up on. So I have decided to do is film all of my journal sessions, and I'm going to do a compilation. So in this video, like in this whole vlog, you won't see all of the journaling I do, but I will compile everything into one video for you all. And then if that's something like you're specifically interested in, then boom, it's like there for you, you know? Okay, anyway. I'm not gonna lie to you, internet. I went back to bed because my back was just still hurting so much. And all I could think of doing for it was the electric blanket I have. And that has helped. I now feel way better. Time-wise, it's actually only 11 o'clock. So I don't even know if you want to call it a nap. I realised I didn't introduce like what time it was this morning. So it feels a little bit, I don't know, it feels like the timeline is off a little bit. But Titus had an early morning shift this morning. So I got up with him. Which is why I've managed to do all of that reading. I say all of that reading, it took me half an hour to finish that book. That journaling and all of that, and asleep again for like half hour. But then I did also order Uber Eats because I woke up hungry. I've just been sitting in bed editing this video. It's so good. All right, now that I'm sitting here with my lunch, let's make a plan for the next portion of the day. So first thing I want to do is a tarot spread. I feel like that's something I do in my pajamas when I'm all comfy and cozy. After that, I'm going to get dressed so I feel less lethargic. After that, I think I might mooch into town. I've got a letter I want to send to my parents. I want to try pick up some Vietnamese coffee from somewhere. Went into the city the other day and they didn't have my Vietnamese coffee anymore, which I actually almost started crying over. Hormones. And then the big thing that I want to achieve in this next section of my day is going to the library. Want to go to the library. Renew some books now that I finished reading Cemetery Boys. Oh. Not review. Well, not renew. Refresh. Get a new bunch. I also want to read the second chapter of Into the Soul, and it might be cute to take myself out for like the whole go to a coffee shop, order a coffee, and read my book there. That could be a vibe. All right, let me finish eating. Okay, let's talk about tarot, why I enjoy it, how I use it. The first thing to note is that uneducated people, or perhaps people without the entire picture on the topic of tarot, see it as tarot readers believing that they are reading the future. Now, some people probably do see it like that, but not this person. I first fell into tarot actually because I read Maggie Stavarter's The Raven Cycle, and that was my first encounter with tarot. I knew tarot was a thing, but that was like my first real conversation I had read about tarot, and it intrigued me, and I started looking into it, and I've been in and out of using tarot since my third year of university. This is my deck. What I believe with my tarot is that it doesn't tell me the future. I use it like a reflection tool, very similar to my journaling, where it gives me guidance. And I am firmly of the belief that whatever you read into your tarot cards is what you need to hear, because that's your brain realizing everything that you are feeling, that you are experiencing, and applying the wisdom or the suggestion or the knowledge from... Okay, Alexa, what's the notification? That's my tripod meant to be arriving today. What was I saying? And you apply that to your own reading. And something that's been a big goal of mine since I've picked up tarot is that I would absolutely love to be able to read tarot without requiring a guidebook, or at least not relying on a guidebook. But the only way to do that is to keep doing tarot. And something that I found that I quite enjoy is, I forgot there's a poster back here, that I quite enjoy is doing a weekly tarot spread. And in my little K-Mat book, I've written down how I like to word the questions. What should I take away from the past week? What is important to know right now? What do I need to be prepared for? And at the end of the week, typically when I do my journaling end of week reflections, I'm able to look back at that tarot and like 100% of the time, things have applied to me. So when people say, yeah, but you're just reading it to make it apply to you. Yes, correct. I know that's how I like and how I find value in my tarot readings. Holy hell, they are all major arcana. I just had a little almost cry soul experience. I went out to the library, I got some books. I'll have a bookish video up eventually, hopefully soonish for you guys. But I sat down to eat my lunch that I got myself, and Ben Brown popped up. I'll pop a screen something that shows you who it is that I'm talking about. I started watching this man back in 2018, 2019. He was traveling the world. You should honestly go look at some of his old vlogs. His Arctic series, masterpiece. But something in his life happened which made him really pause and connect with his spiritual self, and it just brought up a whole lot of things. And it was actually around the same time in my first year of teaching, which was 2019. Actually, yes, I've been following him since like 2017, 2016. 2019, in my first year of teaching. I don't talk about this much, and I think you can see it a little bit in some of my vlogs, but I was really, really lonely. And that was the year when I started to delve into my own spiritual self. By the way, the mail dude came and my brother sent me a parcel, belated birthday present, and it arrived. So I'm gonna go get that. But anyway, it was a moment in my life inspired by Ben that got me really thinking about my spiritual self. And I hadn't watched his videos in ages, and one of his videos just came up then, and I watched it once and then I watched it again with my notebook. Don't live your life with deathbed regrets. Words to that effect. And I was watching that on the TV, and then I was like, wow, this has really hit me. I want to show my thanks. So I left a comment. So I had to go comment, but I can't comment on my TV. So I went on my phone to go comment. I opened YouTube, remembered I posted a vlog this morning, vlog 110, and Kayla left a comment. And I'm sure she won't mind me sharing this because it was a public comment. But she was saying, thank you for the transparency and that sort of thing. I almost started crying because it's just this moment of ultimate, like, I feel like I'm on the right path again. I feel like in terms of career and physical progression in life, I was doing well. Present. But on a spiritual level, on a happiness level, on a soul level, I really hadn't had much growth back from 2019, and part of it is because I feel like it's somewhat of a taboo subject. People who aren't in touch with their spiritual self, soul self, see it as a bit gaga goo goo. I don't have the right language for it, to be honest, but I feel like there's a lot of judgment around being interested in this because people, it's like pseudoscience and all of that stuff. And I don't really want to talk about it, but I think I have to, because when you bring up the question, what is the purpose in life? I think my purpose in life is to share. The purpose in human life is to share. I'm going to open this. Right? If we're talking biologically, it's to evolve and get better as a species. For me, I think I already contribute to society through being a high school teacher. I help with people's literacy skills and communication skills. I love to share. I have since I was a little girl. It's why I'm struggling with having a private Instagram account mentally right now, because I feel like I want to share. I want to let people in on my life, but I am making myself sit with my private Instagram for at least a week. I'm making myself sit in the uncomfortableness of it. So yeah, just a heads up, like I've shared my tarot. I'm sharing my like spiritual reading. I've been doing a little bit more. And it's just going to be a thing that if I want to be authentically myself, I can't hide that from myself. Okay, what did my brother get me? Ooh, it's from Mecca. Ah, good job, brother, good job. This is going to be perfect for travel. The freaking universe, man. I was literally thinking about the honeymoon and how I want to go traveling. Oh my God, this shit smells so good. Guys, I feel so stupid. I just found out that this phone does 4K in cinema mode. The question I have though is, does CapCut, which is what I edit on, edit and export videos in 4K? Because if so, by crikey, that would like make the quality of these vlog videos so much better. Hang on, this is cinema mode. See how it like blurs out the background if I'm up really close? Or here is just regular video mode. I feel like my movements are like a lot quicker, whereas the cinema one is actually maybe potentially better for vlogging. But like it's in 4K. I'm gonna see and hope that I can edit videos in 4K. Hi team, I realised that I haven't actually finished off this vlog, so I wanted to pop in and just say that I feel like the few days captured in this vlog, and it's actually aired Wednesday morning now, has been a successful one for my mental health and like reconnecting with myself. I'm currently listening to a podcast. I'll screenshot what it's called. It's my first time listening to it, and the episode is called The Power of Oversharing. This was recommended to me by my best friend after we were talking about how I feel like I chronically overshare sometimes, especially at work, almost like I'm trying to prove myself. So all in all, if the mission of this vlog was to reconnect with myself and take some time to ground myself and like heal my inner self, take a shot every time I say self, I would say this has been a successful few days. There's obviously always work to be done, but I just wanted to pop on here and say, like, well, first of all, round the vlog off, but just say I'm feeling a lot better with myself. There's a few things at work I need to change for my mental health, but we can get into that a different day. I was thinking it could be interesting to do like a week in the life as a high school teacher video. Just need to figure out my boundaries around work, life, balance and that sort of stuff. But anyway, thank you for making it to the end of this vlog. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and if you're not yet part of the fam, join by leaving a cheeky like or subscribe down below. I'm getting nervous now because I feel like there's people around, so I'll sign off. And stay tuned for the next few videos. I've already got a couple lined up. I'm feeling very creative. All right, bye bye. Oh, I forgot my sign off. Enjoy all the places you go in your own. Oh, it used to be reading and life adventures, but we're not really a book channel anymore. But we still read. Enjoy all the places you go in your life. Enjoy every chapter. I don't know, I need to work on it.